Hey everyone, Greg here. As you may know by now, I'm the co-founder and CEO of TripShock, an online reseller for water sports and tours. For the past 12 years, we've had the pleasure of working with hundreds of operators across the country, and we're looking to grow our community. It's free to sign up, and you only pay when we bring you confirmed bookings. We'll help you reach new customers, fill empty seats, and grow your business like so many have done with us over the years. Head over to partners.tripshock.com to learn more about our program, read testimonials, or speak directly with our supply team. As always, thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 57 of the Awkward Watersports Guys podcast. Today we're going to be bringing it back a little bit because we're 57 episodes in and we never really went into our story. And since we plan on taking things to a different level next year about growing your business and looking outside context of water sports, that Kevin and I thought, we should kind of bring it back and talk about our stories and why we're here. I think we're going to start with the TripShock story, the Greg Fisher story, maybe.
So, I have a tendency to ramble on. Mine might be a two-parter.
A two-parter.
There'll be parts where I'm on my knees going, no! I'm extra. So, my shit's all filled with sorts of drama and intrigue and mystery. There's a murder. There wasn't a murder. There's been attempted murders, though. Not of me.
Yeah, your story is going to be
much more violent. Much more violent.
Yeah, more violent.
Let's get into it, man. We'll just jump right in. We'll go, man. So, obviously,
are you going to interview? You're going to interview me, right? Okay,
absolutely. Great. And no holds barred, dude. I'm gonna break balls. I hope you know that. I'm gonna hit you with hard hitting questions.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
I don't have any hard hitting questions for you. Why are all OTAs scumbags? You got hit, man, there was some OTA, there's always the OTA hatred, but all right. So I don't want to take it from the beginning. I want to take it from the middle. So,
okay.
So, and what I mean by that is, what is your definition of an OTA? For those who don't know, I'm sure you do, but it's an online travel aid. What's your definition of an OTA? And I'm going to give you what I think my definition of an OTA is.
From the basic level, it's a reseller of activities and tours. We go to a destination, we find things that people can buy. There's different OTAs. You got hotels, and really an OTA is a marketplace, right? So there can be marketplaces for anything: buying and selling clothes, buying and selling hotels, buying and selling rental cars, renting. It's really just a marketplace where you can buy and sell things. Now, OTA is obviously online travel companies, so hopefully I'm not taking it too far back. But premise of an OTA is really just to facilitate the sale between a traveler and a supplier.
Would you also say that an affiliate or an OTA is like a quasi affiliate? Affiliate marketing is sort of what you guys do a little bit, right?
Yeah, I would say that's the major premise of it.
What made you fall in love with digital marketing? Because ultimately, affiliate marketing, digital marketing, they all fall in the same space. Guys, if you don't know, if you're watching a YouTube video and you're watching a review on a mic, more than likely there's going to be an affiliate. And I say I've got a microphone in front of me. It doesn't matter what it's computer, anything you're looking at. There's going to be a link there. You click on that link. It takes you to Amazon or eBay or wherever it is that they're selling their product. And that cookie follows you around and you get a commission, okay, off that sale. What Greg is different, contextually is a little bit different. And you have a whole website and you have partnerships and all this thing, but you get a commission off each sale. So what drove your love? And I sort of feel like I know the answer to it, but for digital marketing, want to be in the digital marketing landscape, where did that come from?
I would say that when I was in college, my suite mate, he was in web hosting. When I asked him how web hosting.
No. You're who? What was he?
Suite mate, the guy who we shared a bathroom together. So he was on the other side. So I had my room.
Okay. I thought you meant a sweet mate. There was maybe some English thing, a really rad friend. A sweet mate. I got you. Sweet mate. Okay.
So he was doing web hosting and he's only 19 years old. And he has this fledgling business where he's building websites, hosting. And then he was telling me about Google AdSense, where you can put ads on your website, and then when people clicked on them, you generated a portion of that click. So if the click is like $1 is worth $1, then you might get 30 cents of that. And I said, wow, so you're telling me that all I have to do is get people to my website, give them content, and they click on it, and then I make, 30, 40 cents in each one? And I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, well, shit, if I get 1,000 people a day and 1% click, I'm going to make this much money. And that's when I just said, I got to figure this out. And he's 19 years old, and he's, he has the coolest clothes. He has all this little business with all this cool computer shit. And the affiliate marketing side came in when I realized that beyond Google AdSense, which is where that was the program that you can use to make money on clicks. There's affiliate marketing where you can get these links, put them on your website. If people made a order or a booking through these links, you would get a portion of the sale. That's pretty much the premise of TripShock's model. And that's when I really started to fall in love with this stuff. I'm like, man, if I provide a great experience, give people the content, then I can make a really good living. I can make passive income. So it started at a really young age, like 18, 19, 20 years old.
So my next question is, I'm going to kind of like shift us around in a couple different directions. So my next question is that general love of like, I don't even know if it's like, maybe not necessarily because you're involved in NFTs, you're involved in crypto, and this just isn't like a money thing for you. This isn't hard. Like you're sort of like driven by the digital market space in general, right? Like you've always had a passion or an interest for the digital marketing, the digital world. Like I'm sure gaming to some point, maybe when you were younger. Did you have some of that stuff going on?
I was really,
like gaming.
Yeah, I was really into gaming as a kid.
So this is like, and the reason I'm asking all these questions rather than just like drilling down to a story, because I feel like there's a lot of passion in everything that you have going on. Like you're really passionate about TripShock, about WaveRes, about NFTs, about crypto, this whole space you kind of always had a passion for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're still carrying this with you. Like this still is like kind of like it weaves a thread through like everything you're doing, even today with the new projects and interests that you have, right?
What I try to do is everything I do, even if it's hard to connect the dots between the two, I try to do that. Like with crypto and NFTs, I'm desperately trying to understand when this gets into travel, what is the play here? Because you've heard of like Web 1.0, Web 2.0, right? Like the evolution of a website. So Web 3 or Web 3.0 is coming. And basically the premise of Web 3 is to give the users control. That's the whole decentralization thing. That's the whole thing about crypto, right? There's no central monetary entity. Everything is done through millions of nodes. That is the premise. That's why I'm so excited about that space, just like I was with affiliate marketing when Web 2.0 came out and all the concepts there. I know that eventually everything starts to be immersed in every vertical, and you can either be late or you can be early, or you can be in the middle too. But I know that the people that are early, you get all of that experience and knowledge. So when it does become adopted to the masses, you are very familiar on what directions you need to take.
So would you say that, obviously you do this for a living. This is your passion. It's your livelihood. Would you say that money came second then? Like money was a motivator, but it wasn't the motivator because you actively enjoy all of affiliate marketing, digital marketing, now crypto, NFT, Web 2, Web 3. Like you truly love what it is that you do.
100%. I can't stress enough how much I love every aspect of all the businesses that I'm in. When you are passionate about something, you really try to go deep into it. And just recently, just give an example of like, I've been really deep in, the crypto and NFTs. And as I've gone down this rabbit hole, I'm jumping into all of these opportunities, and some of them are good and some of them are bad, but every bad experience I'm learning. Sometimes I'll jump into something and something great would happen. Like, for example, yesterday, my crypto wallet had $20,000 in it. I had no clue how in the hell $20,000 got in there. And it's because I bought a domain name, an Ethereum domain name, and they did an airdrop because they went decentralized. I got free fucking $20,000. Like, those are the things that when you're early into something, go down that rabbit hole like I did when Web 2.0 came out, affiliate marketing, 15 years ago when I started getting into that. You get on the ground floor and you really start understanding the foundation and where the directions go. So when it does become adopted by the masses, you are prepared for it and know the best route. So that is like kind of like my philosophy on everything.
All right. So let's go back. So you're in college. What are your first steps into this? Like, so you start running like Google AdSense. Like, what were you driving traffic? Like, what was your first website you built?
My first website was
e-commerce website.
Yeah, it was called dinersnation.com. And what we noticed was Google had a very weak algorithm early on. And we know that. I mean, people would do all these black hat things to get exposure and get ranked high. And I'm not saying that I was doing anything black hat, but I was definitely taking advantage of their weak algorithm at the time. So we basically would buy restaurant data of addresses, information, attributes. We would load it into a database, and we had like a restaurant database. So you can go to Diners Nation and search and find all the different restaurants in your location. The problem was with it is it never was updated. So once you uploaded the data, the restaurant could go out of business next week and it would still exist. However, Google didn't know that, and they didn't care at the time. So all of those millions of restaurants that we had uploaded, they were listed all over Google. So we brought people in, they would look at the restaurant, they would click on the ads, and that was the monetization of the site. And also we allowed people to, if you owned that restaurant, you could turn that into its own, you can claim that listing. So it was kind of like a very early, Google My Business, but with the paid model to it. I ended up selling that site because when Google My Business went live, everything else kind of started to die with it.
As far as like indexes?
Indexes, yeah. Yeah, there was no, we weren't providing anything different. Like, why would Google want to send a user to an outdated dining guide when you could go to the Google My Business page, and that, most of those pages are routinely updated by the business owner. So they quickly killed that site. But I was, being that I'm very in tune to whatever I do, I sold it before, it was basically at its max. Like, it was doing the best it was. And I knew it, I could either wait and gamble with it and maybe sell for more, or sell it while it's doing the best and, move on with it. So that was my first foray into e-commerce, was that website.
So now you've built this website. Presumably you're still in school. You haven't graduated yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get out of school, you sold your website. Obviously it wasn't any kind of like retirement money or anything like that. What's your next gig? So you get out of school, you built a website. Is there anything that happens in between graduation and are you building any business in the background?
Not really. I graduated college and then I started working for a few hotels in the Destin area. And at the time I didn't sell the website yet. So I was doing it in tandem. And that was like I was hoping that maybe one day that's my big exit, is that dining site. So at times I felt like I'm working and I'm making, okay money. I mean, a entry level manager at a hotel is only making like $35,000 a year, but my dining guide is making sometimes $5,000-6,000 a week. So it was really hard sometimes to like stay at that job knowing how well things, but I also knew that I needed stability because I just was in the process of buying a home and everything. Once the site sold, my job kind of sucked, and I decided to take an opportunity with a company called Emerald Memories, which Emerald Memories is the true corporate name to TripShock. So Emerald Memories was not necessarily my company. I was hired in, and it was a local businesswoman, Donna Marler, who had a large charter fleet here in Destin. And she had her concept was these concierge books. So she had like 4 or 5 partnerships with local activity companies, ones that were close to her dock on the harbor. You would call her company, and then she would create these packages and experiences. It was very labor intensive. And I told her, I said, I'll come work for you, but obviously I'd want equity, but two, I want to change it to online based. I would want it to be a bookable thing, because when I was at the hotel, that was one of the main components of like me working at the front desk, was making sure people had experiences and things to do when they would show up. But, if you go to a front desk and ask them for things to do, what do they give you a bunch of rack cards. It's not very personal. Some of them might give you some information on what they recommend. But I always thought there's got to be a better way to monetize this process, because I'm recommending these businesses. I'm like a salesperson for them. It'd be nice to get a little cut of it. I know it's part of my job and I do it anyways, but that would really incentivize my team to do it. Now, some businesses did give these little cards that you can give the guest, and then they compensate you with gift cards, but it just was a little sloppy and you don't really trust it too much. So I was already kind of thinking of this concept, the online concept, prior to Donna Marlar reaching out. And so when I got to Emerald Memories, I'm like, we have got to have an online version of this. Like, we have to have it has to be bookable products. And that's when the OTA was formed. That's the start. That's how TripShock started. And the great thing is we had an anchor product, because Donna Marlar's fleet was the first partner. So it's not like I had to hustle on the harbor really hard for those first 5-6 products, because she already had like the big products. And obviously fishing and dolphin cruises are a big deal here. So, that's the origins. Like, that's how things started. And then obviously from there we progress, we get more partners.
Can we talk about the logo?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the logo?
Are you going to give me shit about the logo?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
I think the logo should have a name. I think you should call the logo, because you tell about the logo. Okay. So you tell the story about the logo, and then I'm going to give you shit.
Okay. So the logo originally was a cat face. And if you Google TripShock logo, you can see the iterations of it. So
I like the one where he's lounging in the chair with the umbrella.
All right. So when I was building out TripShock, I needed to think about the logo. And I had a pet cat that just like randomly would come to my house every day, and I ended up adopting him. I said, oh, well, I'll just do a cat as the logo. And so the cat's name is Oscar. And it just sucks because Oscar just like ran away after so many years, just this year, like 6 months ago, maybe.
Oh, that was Oscar? Was a TripShock cat that was the one that ran away?
Yeah, it was TripShock cat. Yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't realize it was old Oscar, man. I didn't realize it was the original OG.
Yeah, the original OG TripShock cat. Yeah, we moved. The problem was he was fine. We moved, and he was just all out of sorts in this new house, and he was a wanderer anyway, so he just kept running away and coming back, and then he just didn't come back. I think something might have got him, but yeah. So he just was hanging out. And he was a great cat, like super friendly.
But he still exists to this day. I don't know if anybody notices that. Where is he?
I don't know where he's at.
What are you talking about? You don't know where he's at? He still in the logo.
In the logo, yes, he does. So we did basically had different iterations of Oscar in our logo, like the one sitting on the beach chair.
That's my favorite.
And then in the logo today, so the O in TripShock is actually a cat ears.
It is. You know what I call it? I call it Catster.
Catster?
Because it looks like the Napster logo.
It looks like the Napster.
With the headphones. It reminds me of the Napster logo, but so I always call it the Catster. But because I went I was going on I don't remember when we first started the show or something like that. Like I remember I was just Googling you and seeing and I think you might have got it taken down, man. I think that video of you doing that interview and you're in the suit, you look like you're 12 years old, man.
It might still be up there.
I couldn't find it. I was trying to show my wife. She was like, "Oh, Greg looks so young." I'm like, "No, you got to find." I could not find that video to save my life. You got this suit on, it's awesome, and it was not the assured, confident, strong speaker that you hear before you today. It's a little bit more.
I bet you laughed your ass off when you.
I loved every second of it, man. Don't worry. There's probably a mugshot of me.
I know what's going to happen. One day I'm going to be at a conference speaking, and then you or somebody's going to play that video.
I'll have a shirt on with it, the whole thing. God.
All right. So the logo, yes, the cat. And I don't think I don't know. We don't have a name for the cat. The cat.
Catster. I think Catster.
Okay, well, we'll stick with that one.
Catster. So all right. So obviously, everybody, if you guys are listening to the show, you guys know a little bit about Trip Shock. If you don't, then like regionally, and even they have a huge presence here in North Florida. They're all over the country. You guys are just in the country, right? You don't do anything?
No international.
No international yet. Greg's world domination has not reached past our borders. If you're a first time listener to the show and you're like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Greg has built a pretty decent sized company out of, you guys got like 100 employees or something like that. And how many partners do you have?
It always varies because we keep getting more and more, but it's like between 600 and 700.
There you go. So 607 products that they sell, partners that they sell, not even products. I mean, because obviously partners list multiple products. So you built this fairly large company within the span of 12 years?
13 years.
13 years. So let's go back now. Let's go back to your proprietary booking software, which is another company of yours, WaveRes. When did WaveRes come into play?
Yeah, WaveRes is an interesting story because we were about, 5-6 years in, and some of our partners were pretty adamant about changing the whole email reservation process. Like, just imagine getting like 100 emails a day with reservations. Like, it's pretty awful, from an administrative point of view.
And then they had to plug those emails in to their bookings,
to their books or whatever they did at the time. And so we had a lot of requests for people to create them like just a management tool. It didn't have to be anything special. Just, hey, I want to be able to just keep everything sorted. So we created something very simple to do that. And then obviously everyone wants more features, right? So they want to be able to make reservations. They want to be able to take payment. And that's when we decided to create like kind of more of a full-blown reservation software. I regret not putting a lot more effort into that, or I would say not necessarily effort, but a lot more resources, because we took a long time to come up with our product, and we kind of missed that big opportunity, because then you had, Fair Harbor Peak really jump into the market with lots of money, lots of capital, to compete. And even though we have a competitive product, I'll tell you, marketing compared to, quality products, it's definitely, you can have a phenomenal product, and if you don't have the marketing and you don't launch at the right time, it's a missed opportunity. But having Trip Shock and having the relationships we have, that's what kind of made WaveRes special. But yeah, that's the story. I mean, we started in 2015, 2016. It wasn't WaveRes always. It was a different company name. And then we rebranded it to WaveRes because there's so many different reservation softwares. And we're like, you know what? We don't need to be like everybody else. We could be very water sport focused. And then we can actually develop into like a certain segment, because there's a lot of features that don't really make sense for a lot of businesses in these softwares, but we're able to create like a curated version. So I think that was a good move on our part to focus on a certain vertical within tours and activities rather than just doing it for everybody. Because it's really hard from a business perspective to please every single vertical in tours and activities. Like attractions work a lot different than jet ski rental companies. It's almost like two wholly different industries, and actually it kind of is. Building a piece of software that does everything, man, it's tough.
Man, I sort of feel like you have a missed opportunity listening to you like say this now. And I feel like a really good idea, and I wish I would have thought of it a month ago, which is just sponsored the forum by WaveRes.
The Watersport forum?
And made it a WaveRes. Brought those t-shirts. Because you're always Greg from Trip Shock. No one knows you as Greg from WaveRes. You know what I mean? And it's like, I know your struggles with that. I mean, for all intent and purposes, you do have an entirely other company that's got its own set of employees, its own set of headaches. Like, I know you cross-pollinate some duties and stuff like that, but I mean, realistically, you're not just CEO of Trip Shock, you're the CEO of WaveRes too. and WaveRes has got, like I said, a bunch of unique challenges and opportunities. Excuse me. opportunities, I think, in our sector. I mean, I did get pulled aside and they were asked, it was like a big question. Like somebody asked me, I was like, why don't you use wave res? I'm like, man, I'm like not completely on Greg's dick, man. And I think, I just said, hey man, it's like a tool. It's like anything else, man. I'm like, I am so deep into the game right now with Fair Harbor. I'm like, it's just like trying to relearn a tool. And I think you even said it, it's just like these, it's no matter any of these softwares that you use, it's never truly 100% done for you. And anybody at Fair Harbor, the infrastructure owned by booking.com, everything that they do and have and offer, still not done for you. Right. If we didn't manage that in-house, if we didn't do that ourselves, if we didn't optimize our listings, if we didn't optimize our systems and processes, I never call Fair Harbor. When people tell me they're calling Fair Harbor to get something done for them, I'm like, oh man, I really feel bad for you. Yeah, like not that I don't believe in wave res. I think it's a great product or service because I've seen the back end of wave res. I've looked at H2O stuff on the back end, and I mean it is a great software, but it's like, man, it's one of those things where once you get into it,
even if I wasn't using wave res when I develop wave res, I probably would be tiptoeing into my own software because it is very difficult to retrain everybody. That's why our customers stay a long time. It's very rare I have like a customer that's been using us for 3-4 years and switches, especially if it's very embedded into all of their operations. And it goes the same like for any reservation software. Like it takes a lot to leave. I mean, they have to really do a super shitty job. And it's sad that I even have to say that though, but you have to do like a super shitty job in order for people because it's very difficult because when you're especially like having to move your bookings around and change your payment processor and all those systems that you're already used to.
What moments did you have where you felt like, oh shit, like did you have any moments in TripShock history where you were like, we're done, or like, oh my God, we're going to collapse? Was there ever a point there where you felt like at risk?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we get into winter and there's just no money. Like the first 4 years, like you get into winter and there's no money like for anybody. I mean, our partners are taken care of because we don't, we pay our partners, but as far as like employees, what I had to do almost every winter is I took out a personal loan, like of $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, just so we didn't spend any money on marketing, zero money on marketing because I didn't have any marketing money. So I had to actually figure out how to market without spending money. That's when I started really understanding SEO and backlinking and things like that. That saved TripShock. And then I took a personal loan out. I mean, even though I had, Donna Marlar was a partner for the first like 4 or 5 years, I ended up taking the whole company eventually, but she was paying to keep it going. And I said, listen, you take care of the operations and the couple employees we have, and I will figure out a way to get myself taken care of. And that's the great thing about, like, as I said before, I go down this rabbit hole and I learn all these different skills. So then that way I can replicate myself in other ways, such as like taking consulting jobs. Like I did website building and consulting for 4 years straight every winter. I always would find projects. People are always looking for website people. And that really helped me get through those tough times. I mean, every winter I'm like, holy shit, here we go again. We didn't have a good fall. The summer sucked and I knew we'd run out of money. And then all of a sudden, like I get the personal loan. I live frugal, and then spring comes and we're back. Like I always thought that spring was going to come and we're going to be fine, but it definitely is like the stress every single day. It's like, okay, it's just one day felt like 1 month. It's just, when is it going to come? Like, when is the spring? And then as soon as spring break hits, boom, like money's coming in and we're ready.
How much of an oh shit moment was COVID for you?
It was probably like the most difficult part of my 13 years. Yeah.
We talked a lot during that. I remember we talked a lot during that.
But here's what saved us. First of all, my business partner and I are very good with money. We are very, very good with money. So when all that shit went down and we had to do refunds, we were liquid to get all that taken care of. But we did have to dip into some of the
when you say
profits,
good with money, you mean like holding on to it.
Holding on to it and not doing stupid shit with it. Yeah. Investments, things like that. We were ready and we were prepared and we had the money to make sure everyone's taken care of. Now we did have to do furloughs. We were on top of the SBA money. Like we were able to we were one of the first 1,000 to get the 50,000 from the state of Florida for relief. We were one of the first ones to get the PPP loans and SBA stuff. So we got that shit working fast. But like I said, that's part of what we've done. And then working with our accountant and our financial advisor on making sure that we were ready for the ramp up. And we had a obviously killer summer, but it could have gone worse if we were poorly handling things. So,
was there ever a moment where you thought, like, during that time, were you ever thought like this could be the end of my company? Was there ever?
100%. Yeah. There's that came.
How did you deal with that?
Well, first of all, having a business partner makes it easy because easier, I should say, because you can talk to them. And so here's how I analyzed it. First, I'm very aggressive when it comes to figuring out what I need to do. Like I will hunt that solution down to no end. So I told Alex, when we were having to use some of our long-term wealth that we were, that we had in different, stocks and securities and
like retire. You're talking about like retirement.
Yeah. Once we're using it to make sure that our bills are paid. Because I think I told you before, at the end of the day, my reputation is the real value in this, not the money I have in my bank account. Because I could lose all my money, but if I still have my network and I have my reputation, then I can find work.
One lost payment to a partner. So one missed payment to a partner could potentially destroy your reputation in this business, correct? Like if you missed paying somebody, or were like, hey, told everybody like, hey guys, this will be in another month before I pay you. Like, I mean, you don't think that would shake up? I mean, obviously guys like me, guys like Jason, but maybe some of your other partners, newer people that you don't have a relationship with.
I don't think missing one payment. It's all about setting expectations. Like when COVID hit, when we had so much money leaving our account so fast with refunds that we had to like throttle them. That was some of the good. This is like getting our team together and making good decisions. So we're doing this to the point where we're not going to cause any relationship. Like
half payments or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, So what we did is we did half payments to our partners, or we did every 2-week payments in order, so it's not one big lump sum, and we also throttle payment refunds from our customers. And really the issue is our credit card processor. We could not lose our credit card processors were shutting businesses down. Like because they were refunding more than they actually had available. So the first call I made before I talked to anybody was my credit card processor. And I said, because they're seeing like hundreds of thousands of dollars of refunds going through. That's a red flag if you're in the processing business. So I talked to our credit card processor and I just said, hey, what do we have to do to make sure that we stay off your red flag list? And he said, well, just send an email that things are okay. Maybe a letter of something from your banker to say that you have the funds and you'll be fine. We'll whitelist you and won't leave you alone. So that's kind of the things that I was doing, is preparing ourselves for this mass refunds and making sure that we had the liquidity to pay everybody off and then get to that furlough point where I can kind of take a step back and say, all right, let me analyze everything and see where this COVID takes us. I knew things was to get back to normal, but man, if things didn't get back to normal soon, if we were let's say we're stuck in a city that didn't have, it wasn't Florida, this would have been a long, long process. And basically what would have happened is I would have had to really lay off a large amount of my employees. Trip Shock would have still continued on. Our suppliers would have still been there, but it just would have been a really hard battle. Like we really lucked out. But we had all the financing and all the right people in place to kind of pull us back.
Quite a few OTAs fell through that. I mean, at least one or two. Yeah.
Oh yeah. A handful of them. A lot of smaller services, reservation softwares. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if I really thought about it, there's probably a laundry list of them. Smaller OTAs, because they take the money up front and they're supposed to put it in escrow. And some of them don't do that. They actually spend the money they take up front and they spend all of it. Right. And then when it comes to making their payments, they don't have that money to pay. And then they go out of business, and then it gives the whole industry a bad look.
All right, so we're about out of time, but we're not done with Greg's story. So I think we're going to make this a two-parter, and then we can segue into my story in the second episode. But I would like to know what TripShock and Wave Revs has planned for the future, what you have personally. I know we got in the Web 3.0 stuff. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that, but I know we got to wrap it up here because we're at the end of our show. But this is part one of the two-part. What the hell are Greg and Kevin doing here? How they get here? How are these two seemingly opposite polarities here?
That's what I'm going to title the episode is why who they are, who in the hell are they? No, I don't know.
Dude, I'm telling you, I want to rebrand the show and call it Get in the Boat with Greg and Kevin. I love it. Get in the boat. All right, man. That's it.
Good. Come back. Check us out next time for part 2.